A mother went inside for just a few minutes to get juice for her 4-year-old daughter. She came back to find only an empty sandbox and a quiet that would bother her for more than 10 years. Every possible clue was checked, but her world stayed stuck in that horrible moment. Then, 12 years later, the mother looks for pain pills in her husband's shaving kit. But what she finds instead would lead her to find out a truth so scary that even experienced police officers would later say it was the most upsetting thing they had seen in all their years of work. The headache hit Vera Caldwell like a very bad pain in her head. The kind that made her vision blurry and shaky with every beat of her heart. She pressed her hands to her eyes, trying to fight the pressure building in her head as she walked from the bedroom to the bathroom. The morning light coming through the blinds felt like it was hurting her eyes. Her bare feet felt the cold bathroom tile, and she reached blindly for the medicine cabinet. Her hand knew where to go. The mirror door squeaked open, which made her cringe. Her searching hands found the usual vitamin bottles, allergy pills, and her husband Marcus's stomach medicine, but no ibuprofen. The white bottle that was always there was gone. "Damn it, Marcus," she mumbled, though talking made the pain in her head worse. He must have finished it and forgot to buy more. Again, 20 years of marriage, and the man still couldn't remember to replace things. She held the sink, thinking about whether she could make it to the kitchen for their extra bottle. But then she remembered. Marcus always kept a travel pack of pain pills in his shaving kit, just in case he got a headache at work. The brown toiletry bag was on the counter where he'd left it. She unzipped it, and the sound was very loud in the quiet morning. Her fingers pushed aside his electric razor, a small bottle of cologne, travel-size shampoo, and dental floss. She dug deeper, looking for a pill bottle. Her fingers touched a cardboard box instead. It felt wrong. She pulled it out, trying to see through the headache haze. Plan B. One step. The morning after pill. The words were hard to read, but she knew what they meant. She could see 2 pill packs inside. The headache was forgotten. Vera stared at the box, her mind trying to understand what she was seeing. She turned it over and read the instructions as if the words might change into something that made sense. They had almost completely stopped being close like that for years. Not since Ruby. Neither of them could handle that kind of closeness anymore, not with the sadness of their daughter's disappearance weighing them down. The few times they had tried had ended with Vera crying, seeing Ruby's face every time she closed her eyes. A receipt was under the box. She unfolded it with shaking hands. CV's Pharmacy. The date was from last week, Tuesday. Marcus had said he was working late that day. Heavy footsteps on the stairs. Marcus was back from his morning run. She could hear his heavy breathing. Vera stood frozen, the box still in her hand as he pushed open the bathroom door. He was still in his running shorts and a sweaty tank top, his face red from his run. His eyes went right to what she was holding, and she saw his face change from confused to something sharp and dangerous. "Whose are these?" Her voice was a whisper. She cleared her throat and tried again. "Marcus, whose pills are these?" The answer seemed clear. Another woman, younger. Someone who could give him what she couldn't. Someone who didn't cry when he touched her. The feeling of being cheated cut deep, but it was almost a relief to have a reason for the distance between them. Marcus moved faster than she thought he could. He grabbed the box from her hands, his face twisting with anger. "You paranoid bitch," he snarled, and the hate in his voice made her step back. "Going through my things. I was looking for ibuprofen." "Bullshit," he yelled in the small bathroom. "You're always looking for problems because you can't accept that she's gone." He pointed his finger at her face. "Ruby is dead, Vera. She's been dead for 12 years. And you're so messed up about it that you're seeing betrayal everywhere." The words hit her like a punch. This wasn't the guilty stuttering she expected. The shameful confession of an affair. This was huge anger. "You want to know what I think?" Marcus went on, his face inches from hers. "I think you're losing your goddamn mind. You see me with these pills and think I'm cheating? Maybe I picked them up for a coworker." His voice dropped to a mean whisper. "Just like you betrayed Ruby by not watching her that day." The words knocked the air out of her. It was the deepest cut he could make. The guilt she felt every day thrown in her face. Marcus pushed past her. "I've got errands to run." "Hardware store. Try not to tear the house apart while I'm gone." He pulled clothes out of his dresser with angry movements. "Marcus, please. I just want to understand." He turned on her again, and she thought he might hit her. His hand was raised, shaking with anger. "Understand this? You failed as a mother. You couldn't keep our daughter safe in our own backyard. And now you're trying to destroy our marriage because you can't live with yourself." He grabbed his wallet and keys and pushed past her. His footsteps pounded down the stairs, and the front door slammed hard enough to shake the windows. Vera sank to the bathroom floor. The house was quiet except for her rough breathing and the sound of Marcus's truck. Starting in the driveway, his words echoed in the empty house. Vera pulled herself off the floor. The house felt different now, his words echoing in her head. The mean way he said she'd failed, Ruby cut deeper than any hit could have. But under the pain, something bothered her, something that didn't fit with his great anger. She'd seen Marcus feel guilty before. When he was caught in small lies, he would get quiet and apologize. He'd never attacked her, never gotten so mean. This morning's anger felt different, desperate, like a trapped animal fighting back. Vera walked to his home office. The room had always been his space. He handled their money, paid the bills. "One less thing for you to worry about," he'd always said, especially after Ruby disappeared. She had been thankful then, too sad to care about bills. The door was unlocked. He'd left in a hurry. She pushed it open. The office was very neatly organized. His desk was clear except for a calendar and a cup of pens. Filing cabinets lined one wall with neat labels. The man who forgot to buy ibuprofen kept records like a big company's accountant. She walked to the desk slowly. Crossing this line felt huge, a betrayal of trust. But then she remembered the pills, the receipt, his angry reaction. Her fingers found the handle of the top drawer. Credit card statements. The current one was on top. She looked at the list of charges. Gas station, grocery store, Dunkin' Donuts. Everything looked normal until she saw it. CVS Pharmacy, Millbrook, $63.19. Millbrook was 45 minutes away. They had 3 pharmacies within 10 minutes of their house. Why drive that far? Vera pulled out more statements. The Millbrook Pharmacy showed up again and again, sometimes once a month, sometimes twice. The amounts were different. The pattern went on for months. It was too much money for just those pills. She looked at older statements. The pattern was the same, but there was more. Target in Millbrook. Kroger in Millbrook. Always that same town, always large amounts. She started reading the lists of items when she could. Women's deodorant for teenagers, feminine products, bottles of the fruity shampoo Ruby used to want. The kind that smelled like strawberries, children's vitamins, more morning after pills bought regularly. Her mind raced. A secret. Girlfriend with a child, a secret family. It would explain the items, the long drive to not be seen, his anger this morning. But the charges went back at least 3 years, long before their marriage had really broken apart. The locked drawer in Marcus's desk had always been a place she wasn't allowed to go. Important papers, he'd said. She'd never questioned it. But now the key was right where she thought it would be, taped under the calendar. The tape came off easily. The drawer opened, showing files with years on them. She pushed past old tax returns and found a plain folder at the very back. Inside were utility bills, electric, water, gasol for 1847 Elm Street in Millbrook. They all showed regular use, enough to mean someone was living there full-time. The bills went back years. Vera took out her phone, taking pictures of everything. The credit card bills, the utility bills, the pharmacy charges. Proof of what? She didn't know yet, but her gut screamed that something was terribly wrong. A secret rental house would need to be on their taxes. This was something else, something Marcus had hidden completely. The pharmacy buys, the feminine products, the Plan B pills, it all made a picture that made her stomach turn. She put everything back exactly as she'd found it. Marcus's Saturday errands always took hours. She had time. She would drive to Millbrook to see this address for herself. Whatever Marcus was hiding at 1847 Elm Street, she was going to find it. The GPS showed 43 minutes to Millbrook. Vera held the steering wheel tight as the suburbs turned into empty fields. She'd made this drive before, years ago, when Ruby was 2. Marcus had complained the whole time about the drive. Now she understood why he knew the area so well. The CVS was in a tired strip mall. Nothing special about it. But this was where Marcus bought those pills, where he'd been coming for years. She slowed but didn't stop, following her phone's directions deeper into town. The neighborhoods got worse as she drove. Elm Street was near the edge of town. The road had not been paved in a long time. The houses were far apart, separated by overgrown yards. 1847 Elm Street was at the dead end of the road, with woods behind it. Vera's first thought was that the small ranch house looked sick. The yellow paint was faded. The front porch bent in the middle, but it was the windows that scared her. Every single one was covered from the inside with heavy curtains or newspapers. The yard was a mess of weeds, but the driveway was different. There were fresh tire tracks. Oil stains were on the concrete where a car had been parked over and over. Someone came here regularly. Vera pulled over 3 houses down, hiding her car behind an old pickup truck. She sat and watched. A new padlock was on the gate. No mail was overflowing. The roof looked fine, maintained, but hidden. A strange thing that made her stomach tight. Were those security cameras under the roof? She couldn't tell. But the house felt like it was watching, holding its breath. Movement caught her eye. An old woman was walking a small dog. Vera quickly made a choice and lowered her window. "Excuse me," she called with a friendly smile. "I'm looking at houses in the area. Do you know much about the neighborhood?" The woman was happy to talk. "Oh, honey, I've lived here 42 years. It used to be a nice area." Her eyes looked toward 1847. "You're not thinking of that one, are you? Is there something wrong with it?" "Strange place," the woman said, her voice low. "A man comes and goes at all hours, mostly at night. Drives a dark pickup truck. Been doing it for years." Vera's heart pounded. "Have you ever talked to him?" "Tried once. He just stared at me until I went back inside. Never said a word." She shivered. Something's off about him. Always alone. Always locking up so carefully. When did he start coming here? The woman's dog pulled on its leash. "Let's see. The house was sold maybe 14, 15 years ago. The night visitor started showing up soon after. I called the city about the yard, but nothing ever happens. It's just the yard bothers you." The woman leaned closer. "Sometimes I hear things late at night, like construction machines running, but in the morning nothing looks different. And once, I was walking my dog late, maybe midnight, and I saw his truck there. I got curious and tried to look over the fence. What did you see?" "Nothing." "But he must have seen me, because suddenly he was at the gate, just standing in the dark. He didn't say anything, just stared until I ran home. I don't walk past there at night anymore. Vera's phone rang, breaking the moment. It was Marcus. She said goodbye to the woman. "Where are you?" Marcus's voice was tight and cold. "Grocery store." Vera lied easily. "Picking up things for dinner." "Which store?" he asked. Too quick. "The Kroger on Madison." "They were out of your coffee at the other one." There was a silence. She could hear him breathing, checking her story for lies. "I came home for my wallet," he said at last. "Forgot it. Well, I should be back soon." "Good. We need to talk about this morning." The threat was quiet but clear. "I'll be home by 3. "Okay, Vera." His voice dropped. "Come straight home." The line went dead. It was 1:47. She could leave now and get back before him. But her eyes went back to 1847, to its covered windows. She took out her phone and snapped pictures. Proof of what? She wasn't sure, but Marcus had been in this driveway, had used a key on that lock. With one last look, she started her car, leaving the sick house to its secrets for now. Vera pulled into the garage with just a few minutes left, carrying grocery bags to prove her story. Her hands shook as she brought them in. The house felt different now, poisoned by the knowledge of that house in Millbrook. She had maybe an hour before Marcus got back. His Saturday errands were always the same: hardware store, car wash, home. Depot, the routine had been the same for years, she now realized. Always Saturdays, always gone for hours. Back in his office, Vera moved with a purpose. She went deep into the past files. Behind tax returns from years ago, her fingers found an older folder, a power of attorney. The paper was from 14 years ago. It gave Marcus full control over the money and property of his younger brother. David, the legal words were thick, but the meaning was clear. Marcus could act as David in all money matters. She remembered David at their dining room table, excited about a business chance in Thailand. He had been 35 then. "Need someone to watch the rental properties," David had said. "A few months, maybe a year." Vera remembered teasing him while 4-year-old Ruby colored at the table. David had laughed and promised to bring Ruby a princess dress. 2 houses to manage, that's what Marcus had told her. Nothing hard. They got rent checks for a while, then Marcus said David wanted to sell. The houses were gone by the next year, or so she thought. But Elm Street, that broken-down ranch, must have been one of them. The timeline made her stomach hurt. David left 2 years before Ruby disappeared. The old neighbor said the night visitors started soon after the house was sold. All those years of Marcus coming and going, and she'd never questioned it. She pulled Ruby's baby book from a shelf. The last photos were from Ruby's 4th birthday party, their backyard full of balloons. Ruby's face was covered in frosting, smiling wide. Marcus was beside her, helping her make a wish. Then the last picture, taken the day before she disappeared. Vera touched it with her finger. Ruby was in the sandbox Marcus had built, wearing her favorite pink shirt. She was looking up at Vera, so happy and safe. Vera made herself look at Marcus in these photos. His smile seemed real then. But now, knowing about Elm Street and the night visits that started years before Ruby disappeared, that smile looked different, like he was planning something. Her mind fought against the idea that was forming. It was horrible, impossible, but the pieces fit together with scary clearness. She found their 2012 calendar. Marcus's work schedule was marked in his neat writing. Day shifts only. The promotion hadn't happened yet, but after Ruby disappeared, she looked at the next few weeks. 2 weeks after Ruby vanished, Marcus's schedule changed. Night shifts started, system maintenance, he'd explained. The promotion came with a raise they needed for the private detective. She'd been too sad to question it. Back in the filing cabinet, she dug deeper. More papers, property transfers, she'd never seen. Properties moving from David's name to a company called DMC Holdings LLC. The signatures were Marcus's, perfectly legal with the power of attorney. A search on her phone showed DMC Holdings was closed in 2015. No new information. No money listed. But Elm Street was still there, somehow off the city's books. Taxes paid from a hidden account that let a man visit at night for years without questions. Her phone buzzed. Marcus, on my way home, 15 minutes. Vera's hands moved fast, taking pictures of the power of attorney, the property papers, the calendar pages. Proof of something terrible taking shape in her mind, but still too awful to fully believe. She put everything back exactly as she found it. In the kitchen, she put away groceries. Each normal item, eggs, juice, cereal, felt strange against the horror building inside her. The house felt like a crime scene. When Marcus's truck pulled into the driveway, she was ready. Groceries put away, coffee brewing, a wife home from errands. Normal, except for the knowledge burning in her mind. Her husband had kept his brother's house a secret for 14 years. Visiting at night, buying supplies for a girl, and morning after pills. The facts pointed to one impossible idea, but her heart couldn't accept it. Not yet. Not until she knew what was behind those covered windows on Elm Street. Vera heard Marcus's truck pull into the driveway. Her mind raced. She had to get back to Elm Street tonight, but first she had to deal with Marcus. On a sudden idea, she stood at the bottom of the stairs. As his key turned in the lock, she cried out in pain. Marcus, thank God you're home. Can you help me? He came in. He had changed clothes. The sweaty tank top was gone, replaced by a clean polo shirt. He smelled of fresh cologne, but she could still smell sweat underneath. His face was calm, but his eyes looked at her in a way that made her skin crawl. What happened? He asked flatly. I twisted my ankle, carrying the groceries in. I think it might be sprained. She pretended to be in pain. Marcus walked toward her slowly. He wasn't looking at her ankle. His eyes were fixed on her face, searching for lies. Which ankle? He asked sharply. The left one? His hands were surprisingly gentle as he helped her to the couch, but the gentleness felt like an act. Once she was on the couch, he knelt and felt her ankle through her sock. Here, he pressed. What about here? She winced, faking the pain. His touch was cold and careful. How exactly did you fall? Which grocery store did you go to? The receipt should have a timestamp. Kroger on Madison, like I told you. Did anyone see you fall? The questions felt like a test. She kept her answers simple. I'll get you some ice, he said finally. While he was in the kitchen, Vera saw his keys on a table. The ring looked heavier. Along with the usual keys, she saw at least 3 she didn't know. One was brass, like the padlock on Elm Street's gate. Her phone vibrated. A text from her sister. Diane, surprise, 20 minutes out, bringing wine. Vera's heart sank. The last thing she needed was her sister making this dangerous situation more complicated. But saying no would make Marcus suspicious. He came back with ice. This close. She saw fresh scratches on his knuckles. What happened to your hands? Oh, he said, looking surprised. Had to help clear some brush at the hardware store. The lie came so easily. How many other lies had she missed? Marcus sat beside her, too close. We should talk about this morning. His voice was now reasonable, almost caring. I've been thinking. Maybe you were right to be concerned. Not about what you think, he added quickly, but about us. Maybe we should try counseling again. The idea was so normal that for a moment, Vera doubted everything. Then she saw his eyes, still watching, still planning. This was an act, not him being sorry. I know I was mean this morning, he went on. Said things I shouldn't have about Ruby. He squeezed her shoulder, a little too gently. We should work on us. But first, I might need to go to the office tonight. A server issue. There it was, the excuse that would take him to Elm Street. Before she could answer, the front door burst open. Diane came in without knocking, carrying a bottle of wine. "Surprise, sis. Oh, what happened?" she asked, finally. Seeing Vera's foot, just a twisted ankle, Vera said. Diane started acting like a nurse, not noticing the tension. "You'll never guess what I saw driving over," she laughed, pouring wine. "That creepy old house on Elm, the yellow one? I swear I saw your truck there earlier. Are you fixing up houses now without telling us?" The room got cold. Marcus went very still. Marcus's recovery was fast, almost amazing. The stillness lasted only a couple of seconds before he laughed, shaking his head like he was amused. "Diane, there must be 50 dark pickup trucks in this town." His voice was perfectly casual. "That house has been empty for years." But Vera saw the small changes in his face, the tightening around his eyes, the way his jaw clenched before he smiled. "I don't know," Diane said, pouring more wine. "It looked just like yours. Same chrome parts and everything." "Lots of trucks have those." Marcus stood up suddenly. "I should check your ankle. Let me help you upstairs. I'm fine here." "No, you need to lift it up right." His hand closed around her arm, strong enough to not take no for an answer. "Oh, don't be such a mother, Marcus," Diane laughed, still not seeing the problem. "She's fine. Besides, I just got here. So, tell me about this house thing." "You know, I drove past twice because my GPS went crazy. It's the second time I definitely saw your truck. I recognized the veteran sticker, the one with the flag that Ruby picked out, remember?" Marcus's fingers tightened on Vera's arm. Ruby's name from Diane's mouth seemed to hurt him. "You must be confused," he said, but his voice was too sharp. "Maybe you should go home before traffic gets bad. It's barely 4 o'clock, Diane said, blinking. At his rudeness, "Vera needs rest," Marcus said, an edge in his voice. "Wait first," Vera interrupted, pulling away. Something passed between the sisters, a lifetime of quiet understanding that Marcus wasn't part of. Diane's eyes narrowed, finally seeing the tension. "No rush here," Diane said, pouring more wine on purpose. "So Marcus, this coworker who's into real estate, anyone I know?" Marcus's story got tangled and made no sense. He mixed up names and terms. Vera noticed the scratches on his hands as he waved them around. She escaped to the bathroom and locked the door. Her hands shook as she dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? "Please," she whispered, turning on the water to hide her voice. "I think my husband is holding someone captive. A house at 1847 Elm Street in Millbrook. You need to send someone now. Ma'am, can you speak up? Are you in danger? I think he might have our daughter there." She disappeared 12 years ago. Ruby Caldwell. "Please check your records. He's been going to this house for years, buying supplies for a girl. Plan B pills." "Ma'am, that's a very serious thing to say. What proof do you have?" The words came out, sounding broken even to her. "We can send a patrol car to check the property," the operator said, sounding doubtful, "but without real proof of a crime." A sharp knock hit the door. "Vera, everything okay?" Marcus's voice was too close. "Fine. Just a minute." She flushed. "The toilet." To the operator, she said, "Please, just check. 1847 Elm Street. Please." She ended the call and opened the door. Marcus stood inches away. His eyes searched her face. "You were in there a while, stomach's upset." His eyes dropped to her hands, which were now steady, then back to her face. "Who were you talking to?" "What? No one." "I heard voices, Vera. Were you on the phone?" From the living room, Diane's cheerful voice called out, "I'm ordering pizza." The normal question broke the moment. Marcus stepped back just enough for Vera to pass, but his hand on her back felt like a threat. Diane had her phone out. "Vera, your usual veggie pizza." "Sounds good," Vera managed. Marcus sat beside her, too close, his arm around her shoulders. To Diane, it looked loving. To Vera, it felt like being held down. "I really do need to head to the office soon," Marcus said, checking his phone again. "Server issue." "Oh, what kind of issue?" Diane asked. "You know I do IT help now, right? Hey, maybe I can help." Marcus's explanation fell apart. He mixed up IT terms. Diane's eyebrows went up with each mistake. "That doesn't sound right," she said slowly. Marcus's phone buzzed. He grabbed it fast, turning the screen away as he typed. His jaw was tight. He was texting someone, warning them. The horrible thought hit Vera. If Ruby was alive, if she was at that house, was Marcus telling her to hide? Her daughter might be 45 minutes away, and he was warning her that her mommy was getting too close. She stood up suddenly. "I need some air." Marcus stood up with her, his hand on her elbow, holding her steady, or holding her back. "You should rest," he said. Behind them, Diane put her wine glass down with a sharp click. "Okay, what the hell is going on here?" Vera pretended to be dizzy, letting her knees bend. The ankle she had supposedly twisted suddenly couldn't hold her up. Diane jumped up to steady her sister. In that planned moment of confusion, Vera's hand shot out and grabbed Marcus's keys. The metal was warm. Marcus moved faster than she'd ever seen. His hand grabbed her wrist like a metal clamp, his act of being a caring husband completely gone. "Give them back." His voice was low and dangerous. His fingers dug into her wrist, hard enough to hurt. "Marcus, what the hell?" Diane tried to get between them, but Marcus shoved her aside. "The keys, Vera. Now, let go of her." Diane had her phone out. "I'm calling the police." Those seconds felt like forever. Vera saw Marcus thinking, his eyes moving between her, the keys, and Diane's phone. She saw him realize he had gone too far. His grip loosened just a little. It was enough. Vera broke free and ran. Behind her, Diane's scream mixed with Marcus's angry roar. Her supposedly hurt ankle worked perfectly as she ran out the front door. The keys were clutched so tight they cut into her hand. Marcus's truck was in the driveway. She didn't look back, jamming the key into the ignition. The engine started as Marcus ran out of the house. In the rearview mirror, she saw him run toward Diane's Honda, saw him shove her sister aside again. The truck's tires squealed as Vera backed up fast, hitting the mailbox. Then she was speeding down their quiet street. Her phone was already at her ear, 911 dialed with one shaking hand. The house on Elm Street, 1847 in Millbrook. "My daughter's there, Ruby Caldwell. She's been there for 12 years. My husband has her. Please, you have to send everyone." "Ma'am, is this the same yes?" She screamed into the phone, running a red light. "Same caller, same address. But I'm going there now. He's coming, too. He's right behind me. She's in the basement. I know she is. Units are on the way, ma'am, but you need to wait." Vera threw the phone on the seat. 43 minutes in normal traffic. But normal was for people whose daughters hadn't been stolen. She knew Marcus's shortcuts, but she knew the back roads too. 25 minutes. That's all it took. Driving like death was chasing her. Elm Street appeared in the fading light, the sick house at the end. The brass padlock was on the gate, but Vera didn't slow down. The truck smashed through it in a crash of metal. She kept going, hitting the front porch steps before turning off the engine. The strong front door might as well have been paper. Adrenaline gave her amazing strength. She grabbed a garden shovel from the yard and smashed the front window. "Ruby," she screamed. "Ruby, it's Mommy." She cleared the glass and climbed in, landing in a living room that looked strangely normal. But the heavy locks on every inside door told a different story. She moved on instinct, finding a door that should have led to a pantry but had 3 heavy locks. From below, she heard a sound, moy, young, and scared. "Daddy?" Vera's hands shook as she tried the locks, but they were meant to keep people in. She needed the keys. Marcus's keys. The brass key fit. The door opened to dark stairs. A basement. The smell hit her, cleaner over something else, something human and scared. "Dad, I was good. I didn't make noise." That voice was higher than she remembered, but it was the same. Vera flew down the stairs to another door at the bottom with a small, strong window. A face appeared, and Vera almost fell. 16 years old, long blonde hair, pale from years without sun. But the eyes, those green eyes, were the same. "Ruby?" "Oh God, Ruby, it's Mommy. I'm here to take you home." The girl, because she was a girl now, pulled back from the door, her face twisted with fear. "I don't know you. Where's Daddy?" "He said no one was allowed down here." "I've been good. I promise I've been good." Vera's heart broke. She hit the door with the shovel, wood breaking. Behind the door, Ruby hid in a corner, crying. Heavy footsteps on the stairs. Marcus, breathing hard, his face full of rage and something else, like she was his property. "You don't understand," he gasped, reaching for her. "She's sick. She needs special care. I protected her from the world. You stole her." Vera swung the shovel, hitting him in the head. "You stole our baby." He stumbled but didn't fall, blood on his face. "She's mine. I saved her." His hands reached for her throat, but sirens were screaming outside now. Police voices, boots, upstairs. Marcus froze, looking from Vera to the door where Ruby hid. "Ruby, remember what Daddy taught you?" he called out. "Remember our lessons?" Then the police were there, guns out, yelling commands. Marcus dropped to his knees, but his eyes never left the door, never left his prisoner. They had to cut the door open. Inside, they found 12 years of horror that looked like care. A small bed with straps, a chemical toilet, school books, and bottles of pill sedatives, birth control, the used Plan B boxes. And Ruby, alive but broken, asking why they were hurting her daddy. Begging them to let him go, promising she'd been good. So good, she hadn't tried to leave. Because after 12 years, she'd forgotten there was anywhere else to go. The hospitals. Psychiatric wing felt like another planet. Very clean white walls, locked doors, and the faraway sound of someone crying. Vera stood at the observation window, watching the stranger who was her daughter. Ruby sat on the bed, knees to her chest, rocking back and forth. She was still wearing the same clothes, a faded t-shirt and sweatpants that were too short. Someone had tried to brush her tangled hair, but she had fought them. "She won't let any of the female staff near her," Dr. Patel, the trauma expert, said softly next to Vera. "Only male officers and doctors. She keeps asking when her father is coming home, asking if she's in trouble for talking to strangers, meaning you and the police." Vera's throat felt tight. She called him Daddy. Even when she was scared, she called for him. It's a very serious case of a condition where a hostage feels close to their captor, mixed with 12 years of training, being alone, and... Dr. Patel paused, picking her words with care. Complete control over her mind. In her mind, Marcus isn't the one who took her. He's her protector. We're the threat. Detective Morrison came over with a tablet. She was a woman in her 50s, with kind eyes that had seen too much. "Mrs. Caldwell, I need to show you some things we found. It's hard, but it might help you understand." They went to a small meeting room, The detective showed pictures on the tablet. A locked room in the Elm Street house had hundreds of photos of little girls at playgrounds and schools, all taken from far away. Some of these are from 20 years ago, Morrison said, long before Ruby was born. We've checked. No other missing children match these photos. Your daughter seems to be his only victim, but ... he was planning. Vera felt sick. Waiting. His own daughter was the easiest one to take, already in his house, already trusting him. Morrison swiped to another screen. We found journals, detailed notes starting when Ruby was 2. He was already training her, teaching her that his attention was special, that secrets were normal. By the time he took her, she had been taught to accept it. The Plan B pills finally made horrible sense. Morrison explained it in a clinical way, but the truth was terrible. Ruby had started her period at 11. Marcus couldn't risk a pregnancy, so the monthly trips to the pharmacy started. He had kept her physically healthy with vitamins and regular meals, all while destroying her mind. He taught her himself. Morrison went on. We found school books, finished homework from years ago. She can read at a high school level, knows algebra, has beautiful handwriting. But she's never seen the ocean, never been to a movie, never had a friend. He told her the outside world was full of people who would hurt her, that only he could keep her safe. Through the window, Vera saw officers leading Marcus down the hall in chains, wearing an orange jumpsuit, but walking with his head up. He saw her watching and smiled. Actually smiled, like they were sharing a secret. His questioning ... Morrison shook her head. No feeling sorry. He insists he loves her, that he protected her. He described in detail how he drugged her juice that day and carried her to his truck while you were sleeping. The basement was already finished. He'd spent months soundproofing it. He's the one who called 911 to report her missing. He played the sad father so well that no one suspected. The night shifts, all those years of Marcus leaving, saying he had to do server work. He'd spend hours in that basement, then come home and get into bed next to Vera, like nothing happened. The wrongness of it all, of sleeping next to him, eating with him, crying with him while he knew exactly where Ruby was, made her want to scream. There's more, Morrison said gently. The brass key opened a safety deposit box with USB drives. More evidence, photos, videos, enough to make sure he never gets out. I won't describe them, but you should know they're there for the trial. David had been called in Thailand. Marcus's brother was horrified and had flown back right away. He had trusted Marcus completely, never thinking the papers he signed would be used to hide a kidnapped child. The legal problems would take years to sort out, but David had already hired lawyers to help Vera in any way he could. Can I see her? Vera asked. Can I try? Dr. Patel thought for a moment. We can try, but please understand, she doesn't remember. She was 4 when he took her. In her mind, her mother is dead. Marcus told her you went to heaven. They walked back to Ruby's room. Through the window, a male nurse was bringing her lunch. She ate like a machine, looking down, answering his questions with one-word answers. When he left, she went back to her spot on the bed, rocking. Vera went in slowly, Dr. Patel beside her. Ruby's head looked up, her green eyes wide with fear. Hello, Ruby, Vera said, her voice breaking. I know who you are. Ruby's voice was different now, a 16-year-old's voice, but strangely flat. You're the lady from the basement. The one who hurt Daddy. Ruby, I'm your mother. Ruby shook her head hard. My mother is dead. Daddy told me she went to heaven when I was little. Her eyes looked closely at Vera's face. Are you an angel? Am I dead too? Is that why everything feels wrong? Vera's knees almost gave out. Dr. Patel held her up, whispering to go slow. Vera sat in a chair, keeping her distance. You're not dead, sweetheart. And I'm not an angel. I'm your mom, and I've been looking for you for 12 years. every single day. Daddy said you stopped loving me. That's why you went to heaven. That's not true. I never stopped loving you, not for 1 second. Ruby was quiet, thinking. Then, in a smaller voice, when is Daddy coming back? The question broke what was left of Vera's heart. Dr. Patel stepped in, explaining gently that Ruby would be staying here for a while, that her daddy had to go away. Ruby's heartbroken cry could be heard 3 rooms down. Later, after Ruby was given medicine to sleep, Dr. Patel walked Vera out. The outlook was uncertain, but not hopeless. Years of therapy were ahead. Trust would come slowly, if ever. Ruby might never get back the childhood that was stolen from her. But she's young, Dr. Patel said. The brain can still change at 16, and she's healthy because of his twisted care. There's hope. Hope. Such a small word for such a long journey. Vera came back the next day, and the next, sitting outside Ruby's room. On the 4th day, Ruby asked a question about the world outside. On the 7th, she let Vera sit closer. On the 10th, when Vera held out her hand, Ruby stared at it for a long time before reaching out with one finger, touching her briefly before pulling back. It was almost nothing. A fingertip touch that lasted less than a second. Oh, it was everything. It was a beginning.